All right, guys, it's time to give us our monthly update on Yu-Gi-Oh! And to be honest, I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is in an interesting spot right now. There are some huge changes that's happening in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. Some of them are incredibly good. Some of the others, not so good. I don't like to be one of that guy that does nothing but just talk. So not only do I give you solutions, I actually want to give you spots where Konami has done an amazing job. And if you guys think that there are some spots where they can improve on, let us know down below. It's going to be really, really important. I'm confident they watch these videos. I think it's best that we started off with the good. One of the coolest things that I've noticed in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that a ton of new school and old school Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are now playing the game again, and I have to think that it's mainly because of the 25th anniversary set. I actually met some new people at my local shop, and they don't necessarily play in tournaments or anything, but getting some of those really sought after cards like Triple Tactics Talent and Ash Blossom has definitely pushed them towards playing a lot more Yu-Gi-Oh! And hopefully they might even start entering tournaments very soon. I genuinely have to double down in case you guys didn't catch it, but I was wrong about certain parts of the anniversary set. It was incredibly good for the community. There were some things that I was like 100% right, but I have to say overall, it was a positive take. It definitely helped the community when it comes to terms of getting product. I personally think that if Konami makes more product like this in the future, it'll help so many players getting in. No one wants to spend a Fullmetal Alchemist arm and a leg to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And having cards that are actually accessible allows them to get back into the game. It's a massive W, seriously. I think Master Duel is like in the best spot that it could ever be, and Konami has done a tremendous job. I think one of the best things that they've done is that they have omitted certain strategies in certain cards in the game, and then they've even introduced some things that we haven't had in a TCG. It gives it a fresh and fun feel. It feels like a great game. All right, guys, I think that's enough of singing Konami's high praises. Again, kudos. You did great about that, but there's still some interesting problems that you have. We'll talk about some good things. We'll talk about some bad things. I like making it a sandwich. It helps us actually digest everything and not seem so negative. I think one of the biggest problems that's happening right now is accessibility, which is ironic because we just all talked about how things are so accessible. The new set, Valiant Smashers, is a deck build Yu-Gi-Oh! Set that used to be just walking W's for players that paid attention. If you remember correctly, decks like Labyrinth, Pearly, Rescue Ace, they all were incredibly cheap Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks that rewarded players for investing into that particular deck over time because they became top Yu-Gi-Oh! Strategies. And the reason why that was so effective is because Konami actually made rarities of these cards accessible for every single one of those strategies inside of the deck. For example, if you just so happen to have bought Rescue Ace when Amazing Defenders came out, you spent maybe about $30 for the entire thing. The same Rescue Ace core will probably run you closer towards $150. It's a massive W for the people that invest. Nowadays, Konami ain't doing that no more. I really did have my doubts with Wild Survivors. Vanquish Soul taking up most of the ultra rare slots was concerning, but I thought that that was maybe a one-time thing. Now in Valiant Smashers, Konami did it again. They did it again. The best deck in Valiant Smashers by far is Centurion, and just about every ultra rare slot is occupied by Centurion. This makes the deck incredibly expensive, but since also it's a deck build set, the strategy isn't good enough to justify its expense. Cheap decks get expensive faster than expensive decks get cheaper. Holy crap, Patty, he's right. Patty hit it right on the head. He's off. That's exactly what's happening. The fact that the other two strategies are just literally not good right now. There's almost no buy-in for this set, meaning that people are going to buy this set less, which unfortunately makes the Centurion strategy even more expensive. And if it ever does become the deck to play, it'll be way too expensive when you compare it to some of the other strategies that come in main sets. Overall, I'm just genuinely putting you on game, Konami. This is you shooting yourself in the foot. Those deck build sets need to be what they were, cheap. Fortunately enough, the fix for this is incredibly simple, Konami. Just go back to what you did with sets like Amazing Defenders and we won't have a problem. We might actually start buying some of your sets. My bad, Konami. We will buy your amazing Yu-Gi-Oh! Set. Because as a content creator, I have to say that. More on that later. And that brings me to the next problem with Konami. Oh my God. I hate saying that because I don't want to be negative, but at the same time, I need you guys to understand. So on the 15th, Konami released a list of players that were banned for whatever reason. I was checking the list because I always have to check the list out of fear of me getting banned for the things that I say. And it just so happens that one of the favorite players that I like to watch and a world champion is now banned. Now, Patty has been saying, was he cheating? The answer is no. But on his suspended players list, it says cheating. Allow me to explain. Through Polly's own words, he submitted a deck list for a remote duel regional. He then realized some cards were missing and tried to resubmit a different deck list and thought that the punishment would just be taking a round 1 loss. Polly definitely took a round 1 loss and a round 2 loss and a tournament loss. He was disqualified for this. Polly was disqualified because in the policy documents, it says you cannot do this. This is simply illegal. Shortly afterward, when the suspended players list comes out, Polly was on it for 6 months. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to address about this. Polly did violate tournament policy. Polly does deserve punishment, I guess. But do y'all really, is that really cheating? Like, seriously? You're gonna call that cheating? Come on, my boy. If that's worth a ban, this game needs huge fitching. Exactly. I can see Polly getting disqualified from the event. That warrants that, sure. But 6 months banned? Holy crap. And before we start just bringing Konami down, I do want to say Polly was told by a judge that they don't think he could do that. But that's not even a real answer.
Hey, I'm gonna resubmit this deck list.
I don't think you can do that.
Why?
I just don't think you can.
Bro, what kind of like, hold on, timeout. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be up to date on the policy documents or the rules that are governed with your particular game that you played. But this is literal, why is it even considered cheating? It just doesn't make any sense. 6 months for a banned mistake. Yes, Polly got banned for 6 months. In Polly's own words, he said that was the lowest amount that they could give him as well. Like they had their hands tied. Like they had to suspend him. The definition of cheating is to act dishonestly or unfairly in order to gain advantage, especially in a game or examination. Basically, you have to have intention to cheat. That is the deciding factor between making a mistake and actually going through with it. In no world, disadvantaging yourself by resubmitting a deck list and taking a loss because of it should be considered cheating in any way, shape, or form. And that's where Konami genuinely fumbles the bag right there. I think context for these particular situations is incredibly important. I don't disagree with Polly being banned. I do disagree with how Konami is approaching these particular situations. I think it's just god-awful terrible. 6 months for an honest mistake is crazy. Did he swap his entire deck or just a few cards? Polly was missing a few cards, so he replaced the new deck list with a few cards. Would it make more sense to just disqualify him than banning? Personally, I thought that the DQ was fair. Disqualifying somebody from an event. The ban that followed afterward is crazy, but of course you guys let me know what you think. On top of that, there are players that should be banned, like forever, that Konami has not put on this ban list, which I think is crazy. Yo, Top Deck TJ has been taking dudes, women at events and has not received any type of ban. I'm snitching. I might be one of those players, but don't put me on the ban list. Polly hasn't done anything to anybody. He is our reigning world champion. And for him to be banned for something like that is crazy. If that's how they treat world champions, they're gonna slime me out at locals. They probably just wanted to ban him for the sake of doing it, in my opinion. It just doesn't make any sense. So what's the solution for this particular thing? Konami needs to be a lot more transparent when it comes to banning Yu-Gi-Oh players. Seriously. It doesn't make any sense that any infraction can be considered something like cheating. You can have somebody egregiously cheating, like actually swapping cards in their deck and stuff like that, and then someone resubmitting a deck list without knowledge and taking a round 1 loss and thinking that's the penalty. I also think that the length of time for the ban should fit the punishment, but there shouldn't be a mandatory minimum sentence. What is this, 2008 America? Like, it's just that simple. Banning a player should be a case-by-case scenario, not a mandatory 6 months. I 100% agree. If any infraction you have gets you at least a 6-month ban, what is going on? I 100% agree. This is just wild. It's completely wild. I think until Konami becomes a lot more transparent with these things, there's always going to be a type of issue in this particular situation, especially if more people get banned for such little offenses and then for such a long time. But of course, you guys got to let me know, what do you think about this particular situation and what would be the appropriate solution? I'm definitely going to have to do some more digging to see what I would do for the policy documents, like exact changes. And I can't wait to read what you guys have to say.